Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name is Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I've got Green Bean, the Jets fan, and Matt O'Leary. Boys, how you doing tonight? Green Bean, I'm going to kick it to you first.
I'm in high spirits. I think we have a lot to be excited about. I'm very comfortable with our situation right now, and I couldn't be in a better place, guys. How are you?
Oh, Matt, how are you doing tonight?
Unwell. I've been in a really bad mood since Sunday. Yeah, it doesn't feel any better. 54-13 sucks, man. It's not fun.
Oh, so I guess that's about where we're going to jump into this. Guys, if you want to drop a like on your way in, for every 25 likes, we're going to pick a qualifier to get a t-shirt at the end of this stream. And if you leave a comment on this video after it is aired, you'll be entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. So make sure you drop that down below. And let's start with that right there. The Jets fall to the New England Patriots by the score of 13-54, and it was ugly. I don't know how you guys felt, but it felt like the team just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
I gave up. I'm doing all my editing like mid game. I was like, oh, every throw from Zach Wilson, and then like he gets knocked out. I was like, oh man, really? Like this is how this season's gonna go. We're gonna lose a quarterback for the year. Luckily, we kind of dodged a bullet there, 2 to 4 weeks with the sprained PCL. I guess Green Bean, give me your thoughts on the game as a whole. What did you make of it?
Well, I made of it that we got a lot of lip service about self-reflection and looking in the mirror and all that. And what we learned was when they were done looking in the mirror, they came to the conclusion that they're good. The way they're doing this is good enough. It's working. They feel very, like everything, the direction of the team is in order. And coming out after 2 weeks to prep for New England, after they shellacked us in our own house in our home opener, I thought that they would do something instead of run, pass, punt. And it was disturbing. And like you just said, it felt as if the team didn't want to be there. Like that's it. I know that's probably not the case, but that's what it felt like throughout the game within 5 minutes. And I was down there at the Virginia Jets fan club on location, 𝐒𝐿𝐴99's group, and they were awesome. Everybody's, yeah, we're doing Jets chants. And within 5 minutes, we were like, it's over. 5 minutes into the game. And I don't know what's up with that. And I'm sure we'll dig into all sorts of nuances, but I'm not happy, man. And I think Saleh, his comments after the game about Zach, which were bullshit in my opinion, comments about the players and their motivations, I thought that was a little side skewed to my ears as well. And I don't know if he really has a grasp of what's going on here. And that's disturbing, and it bothers me.
Matt, what about you? How'd you feel about the game?
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Green Bean was saying, opening drive. So knew it was going to be rough without 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐬. I didn't think it was going to be that bad because opening drive, they did not have an answer for Jonnu Smith. Just right down the field, they go in. And then like Green Bean said, not only was it run, pass, which is bad, but it was right guard getting blown up like every other play they've run all season long on the first run. And then just a miscommunication on the offensive line and a free edge rusher comes in untouched and sacks Zach Wilson. So not only was it run, pass, it was bad offensive line play on a run, another run where Michael Carter dances for 2 yards, and then a miscommunication, just sack, because I don't understand the offensive line just refuses to communicate right now. About as bad of a loss as you could possibly get. Like, there's been bad losses to New England over the years. But the thing is, this isn't the same goddamn New England Patriots team. This team has no business hanging 54 on anybody.
Nope.
That's embarrassing. And the fact that it was after a goddamn bye week, too. Are you kidding me? Just from top to bottom, an embarrassing performance. Everyone on that roster, coaching staff, front office, ownership should be extremely ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, it felt like we were completely unprepared, and you guys both touched on it. You have 2 weeks to prepare for this game, and it was 2 weeks to prepare for a game against a division rival, a hated division rival. They already beat us with the 4 interception game in our home opener. So you think there'd be a little more urgency in like, hey, let's like take this seriously. Let's try to like do our best. And it felt like we just got steamrolled because losing CJ Mosley, I'm with you, Matt. I had no idea it was going to be that wide open up the center of the field. And we were down 14-0 before Zach Wilson threw his first pass.
Yeah.
He got the sack, and then it was like right down the field again. They scored. So, what gets me a little bit is it felt like Zach was going to start clicking because the next drive, he takes him down the field. They have that weird play call where they throw on 2nd and 5 to Jamison Crowder, and they have Elijah Moore blocking, and we're all pulling our hair out over it because you have Ryan Griffin, you have Mims, you have Corey Davis, all guys that are good at blocking, and you have your smallest player on your team out there lead blocking on the screen. So you wind up losing 2 yards there. That's the perfect play where you can say, hey, let's dial up a bomb because at worst case scenario, you're 3rd and 5 and you're in a reasonable down and distance. So the Jets wind up moving down the field. I forget the field goal that they missed. It was like a 48-yarder maybe or something like that. And it gets pushed wide. Was it wide right, I think? So you don't come away with points there. And then the next drive was the drive where Zach Wilson winds up getting hurt. And he takes him down the field, and they wind up scoring a touchdown on that play. So really, you're talking it could have been 10-17 after that Jets drive. And it's sort of a game at that point. But going into that third drive, not going into the third drive, but on the third drive, the low hit on the sideline drove me bananas. And I know it's not a penalty because Zach's outside of the pocket. And I am just so frustrated by it because there's a few things. It's like, okay, Zach Wilson should have had the knowledge to at least run out of bounds or to throw the ball away prior to that. And then like, for Robert Saleh to not just lose his fucking mind on like the player, the refs, like I don't care. I know it's not a penalty, but just go bananas, like because you're probably getting that roughing the passer call on the next play after that too.
That whole sideline was dead though. Right? Not to cut you off, but you were talking about that play, and I was expecting a reaction. Nothing, crickets from the entire team, not just like the staff. The other 52 guys on the roster didn't want to do anything either? Like, what the hell is that, man?
Yeah, man. I'm with you. And I don't even know what would explain that. Like, there's lots of things. Maybe they don't like Zach. Maybe they don't like Saleh. Maybe they're all asleep. But just on a very core level, when the quarterback on your team, or anybody for that matter, gets a dirty late hit like that, it wasn't even late. It was just dirty. People get pissed, and the offensive line should have at minimum run over there and caused a ruckus, at least verbally, like something should have happened. Nobody did anything. And then when Saleh was asked about it, he basically threw it on Zach. From what I only heard it once, but he was like, I don't know, man. It's not computing to me. And that was a major point of interest for this whole thing where we're looking at where like the team just doesn't seem engaged. You know what I mean? Like it's like, again, I'm not going to say that that's definitive, but that was a major play. Your quarterback just got his knee dove at, and you're not going to even say, hey, what the hell is that? Nothing. And it bothers me, man, honestly.
Dude, and to piggyback off that too, you're talking about the late hit that Judon had, the very next play, and the offensive linemen are just walking past Zach. And I think the announcer said it too. They're like, oh, the offensive linemen seem upset, not at the hit, but at like that Zach's down on the ground. And I'm like, where is everyone? Like, you should have everyone in Judon's face right now. Like, get angry. Like, that's where these guys are supposed to be. And it's just, it feels like the team's not in it. And I don't know if they're just disinterested because we were 1-5 going into that game, or we were 1. Is that right? 1-5?
4.
Are we 1-5? We're 1-4.
1-5.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like a 1-4 thing, and you're like, okay, we're getting beat up. We're down by 14 points already. We're just kind of out of the game. I'm self-preservation mode. Like it feels like the team wasn't there mentally, and that's coaching. Like when I'm looking at this game, it felt entirely on the coaching staff. offense, defense, head coach across the board was just a poorly coached, poorly prepared team. And man, it sucks because now we're going to lose our quarterback for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. What do you think the answer is? Is there any answer to get these guys fired up? Because we're such a young team. I feel like when you have a young team, you're able to get these guys fired up because they're trying to make roster spots. They're trying to make a name for themselves in the NFL. And for you to not get that type of energy from them, I think is a big red flag.
Yeah, it really is. And because look, like you said, they're all young. We've put a lot of emphasis on bringing in high character guys that are, they'll work through adversity. They're supportive guys, team oriented guys. And the whole place is dead. And I got to tell you, man, and it's like one of those things that I kind of just ignored early on. But Saleh talks about making these guys money a lot. Like he says that, like, I want them to, know that they can get paid. And he said it with John Franklin Myers, and he said it again. And it's like, look, I'm not trying to just pile on. I'm really not. But it's starting to I'm starting to wonder what are his motivational tactics. He said it's not my job to motivate the team. They know what happened, like all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's alarming to me. Like, he doesn't seem like, number one, he doesn't seem like he could do it because the team is not energized. They're not amped up. They're not pumped. They're not protecting each other. But then when he gets asked a question about it and he says something to the effect of, well, they got to find the motivation. Like, it's like shit like that. I forget how he said it.
Yeah. He's like, I don't need to yell at these guys or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't need to yell to motivate him.
It's like, when are you going to bench Van Roten? If that's you, what the fuck, man? I don't care if the next guy's just as bad. It doesn't matter. Make a statement, man. Isaiah Wilson, even Dan Feeney, like somebody put them in. Ross Pierschbacher, put him in and show Greg Van Roten it's unacceptable. Like, I'm really bothered by this shit. You guys don't like Ross Pierschbacher?
I don't know who that is.
He's on our practice squad. It's funny. I was screaming his name. He was a center guard for Alabama, and it came out in the 2019 draft, and that was the guy I wanted when McCagnon took @𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 and then Blake Cashman. I was I was screaming, Pierschbacher! That's what I want. But we got him. He's on our squad. I don't know. I'm really bothered by the coaching, and that's my whole take here. It's like something's wrong with this coaching staff when they looked in the mirror at 1-4 and they decided not to change a single thing. That bothers me.
Yeah, it definitely bothers me too. Another thing, we're going off things that just bothered us or made us mad. The comments after the game from Sheldon Rankins and Morgan Moses drove me up a wall. I was livid. If you don't want to get the score run up on you, how about you make a goddamn stop? This isn't high school football, Pop Warner, JV, middle school, flag football, T-ball, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's the National Football League. This is supposed to be the most competitive league in the sport. And if you can't stop your opponent, that's on you, man. Be better. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When I hear the run up of the score, it's like, you know what? Yeah, okay. It kind of sucks that you're watching Belichick do that, but if you don't want him to do it, fucking stop him. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there is just no other way around it. Like, you just cannot let these guys just rip through you the entire line. Like, the defensive line was not there. I think it was the first play of the game. Quinnen Williams gets a 5-yard holding penalty. Immediately, like, oh, here we go. Like, something stupid's going to happen. And then right down the field, boop, 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 the entire way. And I didn't feel like Mac Jones did anything crazy. He did exactly what he needed to do. 5-yard passes. We were just missing tackles. May on that first, I think it was the play before the touchdown, just whiffed on Jonnu Smith in the, like, right up the middle and just 25 yards or whatever that play was. It's brutal. And I don't know if there's a way to fix it. And I just kind of see this team starting to spiral right now, especially now you don't have your starting quarterback. It's going to be a little interesting. Do you guys have anything more with the game you want to kind of hash out, or do we want to move on to, what we talk about Zach Wilson's injury and the trade for Flacco?
Well, yeah, just one more thing on that. Like, you brought up the 2nd and 5 play. I want to make it clear that was the exact same play choice that ruined our momentum in London. Don't forget, we scored a touchdown. We were coming back. We scored a touchdown. Defense stopped them. We came out. We were driving a little bit on 2nd and 5. LaFleur called up the play to throw it 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and we got blown up. Then it was a 2nd and 13 or whatever it was, and we couldn't overcome it. Same exact thing yesterday. It was the same play, but instead of having somebody out there that can block, like you said, Ryan, he had Elijah Moore, literally the one wide receiver on our team that is not known for blocking. Every wide receiver we have is known for blocking. In the meantime, we have tight ends running 25-yard routes. Like, so I'm just going to tell you, like, the whole thing with Mims, and we all wanted to give him benefit of the doubt, and starting Fant over Moses and letting Josh Adams go, and all these kinds of moves that nobody liked, but we're like, hey, man, they see something with this guy and that guy. I am seeing a complete inability to identify their talent and create the team around the strengths of the team. That play epitomizes it, man. It's such an indicator of the issue as a whole. And it's really bothersome because LaFleur's press conference, it was like, I couldn't even watch it, man. It's like, they don't understand. Like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't seem to me like it's sinking in. Like, dude, you're 1-5. You haven't scored a fucking touchdown in the first quarter in the entire season. It's like 106-3 or whatever it is in the first quarter, first half, whatever it is.
No points in the first quarter.
Yeah, no points in the first quarter in 6 games. How can you possibly not have alarms and sirens going off? We do everything we can to score. It's like run, pass, punt. 2nd and 5, throw it 5 yards. No, it's okay. Elijah Moore can block him. Like, why?
And how about New England on the they're coming out there throwing, like, their wide receivers throwing passes, like they're going
they were having a good time.
The wall out there. And has there ever been a trick play yet? Like, if they can't do anything, give me some sort of gimmick. At least Jamison Crowder threw a touchdown last year. Like, give me something.
The closest thing we got to a gimmick was Elijah Moore's touchdown this week.
Yeah, but like, it's about freaking time, man. You should have did that 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's fun things you can do to get the team engaged, and they're just not doing any of it. It's like, hey, let's make this as boring as possible, and it'll work. Trust me, it's the Shanahan system. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
that's what
it's like, right, and that like you said, that Elijah Moore play. Dude, that's what we've been calling for the entire season. And if not that, they were on their 3rd nickelback. That's Elijah Moore's position. Why didn't we just say, hey, kid, eat him alive? We're going to just focus on you. He's a pristine surgical route runner, okay? Eat him alive. We're going to hit you until they have to stop it. Then we're going to hit him somewhere else. Nothing.
Just crickets across the entire offense. It just feels like this team has lost its will to fight. Like, there's a few guys, like I think Michael Carter's running hard right now. A handful of guys across the team that I could look at and be like, okay, he's at least trying when this team's like out of it.
Moses, he had that one really nice block where he blocked someone like out of the end zone.
I like Moses a lot. I think Moses and McGovern are kind of getting the brunt of the bad guard play from Van Roten. And I agree. I don't know why they're not making a statement. There's got to be some people in there that cannot, or that can at least block the same way as Van Roten. And by block, I mean not block at all. Max's NY Jets says, I don't think Michael LaFleur should be fired. He's a first-year offensive coordinator, and Greg Knapp, an experienced coordinator, died before the season. I don't want to move on from LaFleur because I don't want Wilson to be in 2 offensive systems in just 2 years. I would like to try and avoid that. Now, if Mike White continues playing or Flacco, whoever winds up being in there, I know they named White the starter for the Bengal game. I want to see some movement down the field. I think this is LaFleur's chance to say, hey, look, it's just a young rookie quarterback, which with Mike White, you're dealing with the same issue. So I don't know how you're kind of solving this whole thing, but I think there's probably some level of conflict with Saleh and LaFleur being as close as they are. Like, maybe they're not making the adjustments, and maybe Saleh just can't be the hard ass that we all thought he was going to be. Like, it feels like he left his attitude in San Francisco.
Maybe.
Nope, Green Bean can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I said, or he's just a rah-rah guy when things are going well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's the high fiver kind of guy. I know he wanted adversity. You know, it's funny when people say that, you know, you see what a man's made of in adversity. He didn't think he was going to have to be talking about himself. Okay, that's great when you apply it to everybody else. Now we're looking at you, man. What are you going to do? Because it's not looking good. And I'm upset by it, man. Like, I really am. Like, I think there's way too much talent on this team to get blown out 54-13. Are we a Super Bowl team? No. And nobody's going to say that. But, dude, there is talent on this team. We don't use it. We do not play to our strengths. The play with Elijah Moore out there blocking says it all. And there's bunches of plays like that where, like, why is Griffin out wide? Like, what are you doing? Our tight end should be close to the line, peeling off their blocks when, if everybody's covered as a check down. That's what they should be doing right now. Okay, not trying to do all kinds of exotic, crazy shit. We don't even use our strengths, man. And it's just, I feel like they're lost, and I'm very disappointed because I like a lot of the players on this team, but like we're saying, they look anemic.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, going off the comment, I agree with that. LaFleur isn't going to get fired, and I'm not, defending anything that he's done. I think that if you're going to go all in on this young staff, you're going to give them more than a year,
right?
To do that. The thing that really bothered me, I think, from this week is just the blind comments that make no sense. And there was some from Saleh and LaFleur. There was one yesterday from a player that, again, drove me up a wall. I wanted to swan dive off the Brooklyn Bridge when I hear Ty Johnson saying, Mike Wood's a stud. Come on now. It's Mike White. What is that comment? We can't be serious with that. Come on. Like, there's just zero self-awareness at all.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost something you say in like a college game or like a high school game where it's like, oh yeah, no, it'll be all right. We'll be fine. But like when, I don't know, I would have to know how that question was worded to him. Like, oh, do you believe in Mike White? He's like, yeah, sure. I believe in Mike White. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. We trained with him all summer. Like, I can understand certain things, but like, I don't know. You got to read the room a little bit. And it feels like all the players, especially with the whole don't run up the score thing, that was just absurd. I don't know. All right. So let's get into let's get into the irritatingly sad news of Zach Wilson sprained PCL. We're lucky we dodged a bullet here. No torn ligament, but he's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. For me, I think it's almost a blessing in disguise. Where I think a lot of us thought that Wilson should sit for a time, and this is sort of a reflection period. Like we saw Sam get knocked out his rookie year, and they kind of, he had that reflection moment, kind of learn from the sidelines, see how a veteran prepares. And I think we can come back stronger from this, but man, I mean, it sucks because it felt like when Wilson came off the field, I don't know if you saw his face as he was walking to the tunnel, but he looked pissed. He looked so mad. I mean, rightfully so. The guy's getting beat up left and right, but like your offensive line can't protect you. And Robert Saleh came out and said, hey, we're not going to ask you to lift us up. We're going to lift you up. And that has been a flat out lie. There's no way that has been like remotely close to true. So Matt, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about the sprained PCL?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of research on Sunday night about PCLs and what the recovery time. I really hope it's closer to 2 weeks, just because I don't want to see Mike White or Joe Flacco play more than they have to. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that you rush him back and try to get it at the front of this thing. I'm just saying the more time Zach Wilson misses this year, it's just a waste. Like, there's zero excitement for this game against Cincinnati. None. They're 9.5-point underdog. No, it's up to 10.5 now. Next week, if you want the look ahead line against Indianapolis, they're 16-point underdogs right now.
Ugh.
It's disgusting. But like, I don't know. I just, with a rookie quarterback, at least you can go into each game with I don't care about wins and losses. I just want to see how our kid plays. Who cares what Mike White or Joe Flacco does? Right. It doesn't matter at all.
Adam Gase drops in the super chat. He says, Flacco is back. Might as well bring me back too. Stop it, Adam Gase. Stop it. Don't do that to me. Ugh. Yeah, dude. It's brutal. Real quick. Edward Ziff became a member of the channel. Edward, I'm pretty sure you were a member at one point already, weren't you? Yes, you were. You got the big old jet. Awesome. Thank you for becoming a member again, brother. Guys, drop some JETS in the chat for Edward becoming another member. Guys, we got every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier for a t-shirt giveaway. I got Mike Bruno and Robbie Oak qualified already. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure you leave a comment down below because you can get entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway as well. Green Bean, give me your thoughts on the Zach Wilson sprain PCL.
Well, again, I think just to say it once, I think it's complete horseshit. And we saw in the Seattle game last night, Geno Smith got essentially touched and then he fell over somebody and they got a flag. It's like one of those things where, like, whether you agree with the rule or not, and I have my issues with the rule and all that, if you're going to do it, just do it. If that's the rule, he dove at his knee. And that should be at bare minimum a flag and a fine, all this stuff. And we don't get anything. So just to start there, I think it's complete horseshit. Number two, I mean, I don't know, man. You know, it's like I don't think we're doing the kid any favors with this offense right now. Like people talk about, you know, the talent or the offensive line and all that. I am maintaining that the schematics are the problem. Not to say that we're not having player issues, but it's being exacerbated by everybody not knowing what they're doing and or being put in positions to fail. Did you see there was one play, I believe it was the first sack where the guy came around the edge. Morgan Moses and Van Roten were blocking the same guy, and Connor McGovern was focusing on that guy too. So we had three friggin' offensive linemen focusing on one guy. Do you really believe that Morgan Moses all of a sudden doesn't know what to do? He's been an above average tackle in this league for 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is. All of a sudden, he can't do that. You know, he can't pick it up because his assignment is elsewhere. So that's a schematic issue. And if Belichick identifies how the scheme is supposed to respond to certain things, he's going to make them do that. So we're not being able, our coaching staff is not able to respond, predict, none of that stuff. So for me, it's like when you look at Zach Wilson's injury, like honest to God, I feel like, get him out like that. I know, like Matt said, like our whole thing this season was just like, we just want to see progress, but we're not seeing that because everybody's misaligned. And again, when I rewatch these games, I see it all over the place. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, it's so confusing to me. And then we have, just not having Mims in and just all those layers of stuff. So for me, when I look at Zach Wilson, I'm almost like, dude, bring Flacco in and let's see what he can do in this offense. And, I don't know, man, just give Zach Wilson a freaking break because I don't think he's learning very much right now. Quite the opposite. I think he's getting abused and it's not fun to watch, man.
Our buddy Patrick Dunn drops in the super chat. Thank you, Patrick. He says, I miss Mangold. McGovern can't call out blocking scheme consistently. Everything starts up front for us. Everything stops up front. Yeah, look, our offensive line has been the crux of a lot of our issues. We can't get the running game going, which is what this offense is primarily predicated on. And then Zach just has no time to throw. I think at one point it was 1.7 seconds from snap to pocket collapse, I think was the stat. And it's brutal. I can tell you now, we all miss Mangold. We haven't had a good center. We've been fighting, looking for that center since Mangold retired. And it's just absolutely brutal.
You weren't a big Wesley Johnson fan?
Ooh, say it again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said you weren't a big Wesley Johnson fan?
No. Was not a Wesley Johnson fan. Was not a Hunter was the right tackle? What was the other?
Wayne Hunter.
Wayne Hunter. He was right tackle. We had we had a stretch of like centers over the course of like 3 years.
Centers? Yeah, you had Spencer Long, the Carolina guy who lasted 5 minutes.
Khalil.
Yeah, there you go.
Tom Coleman, thank you for the super chat. Tom says, nothing hits harder then Mims sit. Talent is crazy. Yeah, it sucks having Mims on the sideline. It feels like he's one of the guys that could be out there helping this team create some kind of spark, and we're just not allowing it to happen. We're not watering our young players. We need to let them grow and bud into these beautiful butterflies. V-Man drops on the super chat. He says, "Hey guys, forgot to do my Pennywise voice Monday. Bill Skazzard, not Tim Curry. Also, at least Panthers and Seahawks are crap." Yeah, right. Like those are like our silver linings. We're looking towards the draft at this point, and I really get frustrated because all I wanted was to see like pseudo competitive football in November, and we are in October, and I have punted on the season. I'm like so done at this point. But yeah, our little saving grace is that Russell Wilson is not playing, and the Seahawks continue to find ways to lose, and the Panthers are on an 0-4 skid, which is definitely helping my confidence. Matt, how do you feel about the Panthers and Seahawks kind of skidding?
A little bit better. I like it's. I can't even really fully enjoy it because the Jets are so bad, but it's just nice because I think Green Beans has it perfectly with the whole Sam Darnold thing and Jamal Adams situation, but more specifically with Sam because of how much of a hot button issue that was and just how toxic the comments and our mentions were online. It's kind of nice to see that, hey, okay, it probably would have been a disaster if they decided to keep him. So I guess maybe that's a positive spin, but I don't know. I care more about the draft capital at this point.
Green, how are you feeling about the Seahawks and the Panthers?
I love rooting for them to lose. You know what I mean? I love it. People, like everybody gets all caught up in like the humanity of it. I don't look at sports like humanity. I'm looking for every human being to have love and prosperity and abundance in their life. I'm truly rooting for that. On the football field and within the NFL, I have hatred for people. That's what it is. That's how I root. I want Sam Darnold to fail. I want Matt Rule to fail. I want Robbie Anderson to fail. I want Jamal Adams to fail. I want Darren Lee to fail, and everybody. Like, that's how I root. So I like it. I like that they lost. I watched the Seattle game. I thought that another guy that I want to fail was going to lead a comeback, Geno Smith, and he didn't because he sucks, and that made me happy. So, yeah, I like it. I want the picks. My whole concern right now, man, is it's not the players. Like, look, it's not the players for me. And like I said, I never thought this was going to be a Super Bowl team or even a playoff team. We just wanted to see progress. I'm totally in on the young guys, and I know it's going to be a long time. You guys know me. I'm as patient as a fan gets as far as this stuff. What I'm seeing is a misuse of players. So if we would have kept Jamal Adams or kept Sam Darnold, it would look exactly the same. There's none of that. You know what I mean? And you can see that because Sam clearly has some good coaches. We know Matt Rule is a good coach. We know Joe Brady. At least we have a pretty good indicator that Joe Brady is also a good offensive coach. So, and he's Sam again. So it just is what it is. But as far as that goes, it makes me happy because I don't like anybody outside the Jets. That's how I am in the NFL. I root against everybody.
Before I get on to Euphoria's comment, Edward Ziff, your comment's about to zip through my little chat thing on the side, but I wanted to say, Edward says, "Rex, come back. I'll rub your feet." Oh, God. I miss me some Rex. Euphoria, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Not going to lie, I was disappointed in Salah not being fired up when Zach was taken out. This is your future. Where's the all gas, no break?" Yeah, let's see some fire, dude. Like, this is the guy that's supposed to get everyone excited. Like, this was the passionate guy. Like, I thought we were getting Rex without the crazy bullseye on our back. And we just really haven't seen it. Like, occasionally, like, when we score a touchdown or have a big play, you see him, like, doing his whole screaming and, like, his arms are flailing. He's excited. And that's, like, the extent of it. It doesn't feel like – I'd like to see some more energy in some of the press conferences, in some of the maybe lack of penalty calls or maybe – penalty calls against us, things of that nature. Grimpy, and how you feeling about Salad not being fired up when Zach gets hit?
It confuses me. It really does. Because, look, we talked ad nauseum about the coaches that we wanted before we came in. Matt was, we had some Joe Brady love and maybe some Arthur Smith, and I was like Greg Roman or some of the college coaches, and you had Dable and all that. But I think universally, even though Saleh wasn't like on our top 3 list for the most part. When we signed him, universally, we're like, you know what? This is a good hire. This is a guy well respected, like you said, fire and all that kind of stuff. So again, he wasn't like the guy we wanted, but we all felt pretty good. And I feel like it's not making sense, Ryan. Like, it's not making sense to me. I don't understand what we're watching. The talent is here. We got the coach that everybody loved around the NFL, Richard Sherman. Oh, this is the fucking best coach I ever had. All that sort of stuff comes from Pete Carroll and all. And it's just like, I don't know. There's just nothing there. And I'm confused is the number one feeling I have toward Robert Saleh. Confused, man.
Matt, how you feeling about Robert Saleh and the confusion that Green Bean's feeling?
Yeah, I feel it too. I'm not ready to like completely jump off, but it would be naive to say that we're not at least concerned with what's going on. Not so much the yelling at the players thing. Like, for instance, I almost understand where he's coming from with my first thing is like thinking, okay, what went wrong and how do we fix this rather than embarrassing the player more? Like, I get that. Okay, fine. But the not being like, yeah, the going low on Zach Wilson was bad. You don't even have to say like, oh, I thought it was a penalty. You'd be like, that's not right. We have to have our quarterbacks back or something like that. Just that. I would have been okay with that, but it was nothing. It was crickets, man. So I think that's what bugs me the most about him so far.
Let's see. I saw a comment in there from Hulk Smash Your Mom. I love that name, by the way. I've been saying it the last few weeks. At this point, the last few live streams I've done. He said, "What up, fellas? Remember the dumpster shirt? Hulk Smash Your Mom. I need you to remind me what exactly the shirt was because you brought it up yesterday, and now I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. So make sure you drop that in the chat, and I'll read it out. Johnny Bravo, you have been qualified for a T-shirt. For every 25 likes we get on this stream, we are going to pick a qualifier for a T-shirt. If you hate everything you've seen from our New York Jets, if you're disgusted with the play calling, if you're upset that Zach Wilson's hurt, drop a like. Even though it's not really like a good thing, but it's a good thing for us. You know, that's we want to see the thumbs up here. All right, I had this other thing queued up. For those of you that don't know, a little bit of trade action happened between the Jets and the Eagles yesterday. The Jets wind up trading for Joe Flacco. They sent a conditional 2022 6th-round pick to the Eagles. It can be as high as a 2022 5th-round pick, pending playing time for Joe Flacco. Now, the Jets did come out and say that Mike White was going to be starting against the Bengals and that he would be the starter moving forward. I think that is probably like a half truth. They're going to start him until he starts, the wheels come off, and then they might throw Flacco in there. So, Matt, I want to get to you. How do you feel about the Flacco trade?
Kind of like everything else, a little numb. Mostly like the thing that I just don't understand is why not do this in July? Like he was hanging around, man. Like you couldn't say, okay, we'll throw him $5 million instead of $4 million, whatever he got with the Eagles, so we could have a guy here. Like,
yeah, he got 3.5 from the Eagles in March.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you couldn't have figured something like that out, but it's a 6th-rounder. They have 1 billion picks. I'm not crying over losing a 6th-round pick for a guy who's probably going to have to start 2 or 3 games. I think by the end of the week, we might hear more about him potentially, actually going to play this week.
Green Bean, what about you? How are you feeling about the Flacco trade? Well, you know what I think, there's a lot of people, right? Like trying to figure this one out. Like, number one, he was on our roster, and we could have just signed him. Just keep the vet around while you're developing the young kids, right? There was a lot of people for that, and you chose not to. And now you got to give away a pick for a guy that you let go in free agency. I get it. You know what I mean? And there's a part of me that says the same thing. Like, that's kind of silly. Now, the other chorus is, well, what the hell is Josh Johnson on the team for? Why do we have this vet sitting on our practice squad if he's not going to be used, right? And then, okay, that makes sense. I can get with that. And then you got the other one, like, why is Mike White our backup quarterback? Like, why did we push guys off the roster for Mike White when you're not confident enough to even play him? All right. So there's a lot of questions around there. Now I have what I feel like are answers. Okay. Number one, the Josh Johnson thing is Josh Johnson was on the team for the exact reason that everybody wanted a vet quarterback. They never intended to play him. They just wanted the guy here to kind of be there for Zach and just 14 years in the league and just be around and help him out as much as you can. So they brought in Kavanaugh and they brought in Josh Johnson in response to the Greg Knapp thing. Let's get a guy in here. But so they're going through the season, they're watching him and everything. They, starting Josh Johnson is just, that's not what the plan was for him. That's not why they wanted him. They just wanted him on the roster, okay, for Zach. Now, the thing with Mike White is, so we've already proven that we have issues with kind of developing a young quarterback this early in the careers of our offensive staff, namely Mike LaFleur in his first year as the offensive coordinator. So we already have a young quarterback and it's going down the toilet. So starting Mike White does essentially the same thing. It doesn't show you anything. So what I think Flacco is here to do, and why Joe Douglas sent a 6th-round pick to get here, because Flacco was an amazing tool for Joe Douglas last year. Don't forget, at the beginning of the season, Joe Douglas said that the only untouchable person on our roster was Sam Darnold, and then he ultimately traded him a year later. But what happened was Flacco came in. So we were all looking at this shitty offensive system by Adam Gase. And then Flacco came in and threw for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns his first game. And everybody went, well, that's interesting. It's not necessarily only the offense. It's also this quarterback. And same weapons for the most part. There were injuries and all that kind of stuff. But so Flacco came in and, in my opinion, really put the nails in Sam Darnold's coffin as far as us keeping him and maintaining our direction with Sam Darnold at the helm. It just showed Joe Douglas that Sam's not the guy. Now, what I think is going on now is they're going to bring in a guy that has proven that he can at least be average. Okay. Even on our team last year, he came in, he wasn't great, but he was average. And you at least saw the ability to move the ball and score points. What I think right now is they want to see, and maybe even Joe Douglas wants to see, if LaFleur's offense can even be utilized by a vet like Flacco before he makes a decision on him. Because I'm with you guys. I don't think Salah's going anywhere. I don't think LaFleur is going anywhere. But I do think they want to at least take this time and evaluate things. So Josh Johnson doesn't give you the ability to evaluate. Mike White doesn't give you the ability to evaluate. So Flacco just might be able to do that. If he's here for 3 weeks, 4 weeks and starts, and all of a sudden the offense is moving, then you know that most of our woes are basically because a rookie quarterback is just overwhelmed and everything like that. But if Flacco comes in and he can't do anything, then maybe we got to really, we have more of a platform to say to make some decisions on Mike LaFleur and whether or not he should be the play caller. You know what I mean? Sorry that was so long, but it was a lot in there.
No, it's all good. I see Hulk Smash Your Mom dropped in the shirt idea. He says all gas lit up on fire in a plane's dumpster, or like in a dumpster with a plane on it. So I like it. The sad shirts don't generally do well, but I do like it. Patrick Dunn with the super chat says, what is the real answer for why Moore is on the outside and not in the slot? Is it truly a logjam in the wide receiver room? Does ML not know, Michael LaFleur not know how to use him? I don't know. I don't understand. Like, it feels like they're trying to utilize him the same way the Chiefs utilize Tyreek Hill, kind of, where they keep the fast, quick cut guy on the outside. And it just feels like Moore would flourish in the slot. And it feels like we're just not, like Green Bean has been saying, not utilizing the talent on our team. And we're just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with all this. So I guess, Matt, I'll throw it to you. Does it make any sense as to why Moore is on the outside?
No. They are so they are so stubborn in wanting Moore on the outside with Corey Davis and Crowder in the slot. And I like Jamison Crowder. He's a good receiver, but he's not going to be here next year. So you got to get a little creative, move these guys around. Is it illegal to have 2 slot receivers on the field at the same time? Is that allowed in the NFL? Or do you have to have a shitty tight end on the field at all times? Is that rule? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure these things out, guys. But
let me get my rule book over here. You're allowed to do that.
Okay, so yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I don't have a good answer. Anytime someone asks me this question or asks me about Mims, I always have to say I don't know because I don't have a good answer or response.
Green Bean, how you feeling about Moore being on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, it's
all right.
it's
Next question.
Yeah, right, man. I'm with Matt 100%. It doesn't make any sense to me. Not to say that you couldn't do that at times, right? Switch it up but we're doing that more than is advisable, and it's just silly, man. Like, we have strengths and we're not using any of them. We're creating obstacles all over the place. And it bothers the hell out of me because I think Moore, if he was on the Chiefs right now, think about this. Let me ask you guys this. Honest opinion. This offense, the players we have right now, Andy Reid calling the plays. Do you think we suck? Do you think Mims is playing? Do you think Moore's in the slot? What do you think happens? Do you think we get some points in the first quarter? Honestly.
Yes.
I would say so. This team is not as bad. Like, we saw this team have some competitive games last year, and I feel like across the board we are better. Like, offensive line should be better. You got Vera Tucker, you got Morgan Moses. Like, that in and of itself should be better than what we had last year. Then you have the receivers, Corey Davis, 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿, Elijah Moore. Definitely better than what we had on the field last year. Running back wise, the ghost of Le'Veon Bell versus the guys we have now, at the very least, I think we're, even if not better. Like, head coaching wise, it felt like we couldn't get any worse. Offensive coordinator wise, felt like we couldn't get any worse. And it feels like we're just kind of spinning our tires. So it is absolutely frustrating. And I think if we were to have Andy Reid or any competent head coach that can use the talent on this team, I think we would have a little bit more success. Justin Rivera drops in with a super chat. He says, Flacco is such a head scratcher. Must have been Woody telling JD to do something so we don't get embarrassed Thursday night against the Colts. I don't know if it's so much Woody saying that. I think it's the Jets purely needing a backup because it's Mike White and then no one else. I do think there's a level of comfort with Flacco since he was here last year. I know it's not the same coaching staff, but Joe Douglas championed him in Baltimore, and I do think that there's some intangibles there. I know Flacco doesn't want to train a young quarterback, so that's not quite, great, I guess. But I do think there's things that Douglas liked about Flacco that don't necessarily need to be entirely skill-based on the field. I will say Flacco's not a head scratcher because if you were to ask me what quarterback would Douglas go after, it would have been someone like a Nick Foles or a Joe Flacco type of quarterback. And I know some people are upset that we let him walk this past year and we could have just held on to him. Because the Jets let him walk, it's sort of weird, right? Like, we give up a 6th-round pick and the Eagles signed him for $3.5 million. Because a lot of that was signing bonus and because of the games that were already played, the Jets wind up having him for 1 year, $600,000. So we saved $3 million and still wind up with a backup quarterback when we kind of need it now. There's absolutely some discussion as to whether or not we should have had a backup quarterback in there just to help Zach on the sideline anyway and watch how that guy would prepare for a game. So I can completely get on board with that. I don't think Flacco's as much of a head scratcher because I think, like Green Bean said, we're trying to gauge LaFleur and this offense because throwing Mike White out there, throwing Johnson out there, I think either one of those guys is not going to allow you an opportunity to really know if LaFleur knows what he's doing. Because I think you could put Flacco out there and he could be like, okay, that guy's open, I'm going to throw it to him. Like, it may not be like the prettiest thing, but we saw last year the guy could throw for 300 yards. He has the arm and the brain to do it. Matt, how you feeling about Flacco? Do you think it's a head scratcher?
I think it's a head scratcher that they didn't re-sign him initially and were forced to make a move, but I think it makes sense. Like, I have zero faith in Mike White being able to play football at this level. I would feel the same way if like James Morgan was still around and he had to play. I had the numbers. If you give me a second, I'll scroll back because I tweeted it out. From Josh Johnson's last start in 2018, he was down. He threw for 90 yards in a game. I want to pull up the exact numbers because it was baffling just how bad. Here we go. 12 of 27, which is 44.4%. 91 yards, 3.4 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 37-7. I mean, they had to do something.
Green Bean, any thoughts on Flacco and it being a head scratcher?
Well, look, it's not that I agree with it, but I don't think it's a head scratcher. Again, like Flacco has been on record saying that he doesn't really think of himself as somebody who's supposed to mentor anybody. So when they're looking at bringing in a young quarterback and people saying like, they should have kept Flacco, like most of us, I know I was on board with Flacco being shown the door, like just let him go because that's not what he wants to do. You know what I mean? He has said as much. So I think right now, again, the role is different than it was when we were talking about that. Like, look, like I said, man, I'm not saying I agree with it or don't agree with it. I do like it because it creates interest for me. It creates, now I'm really interested to see what this guy does in LaFleur's offense. If he's able to move the ball, then maybe we look at something else. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? But at least gives us the ability to look at that. So I am curious. Would I have gone out and gotten Flacco? Probably not. I probably would have went with Mike White or Josh Johnson because those are the guys I chose to keep. But again, I'm not really confused by it. Like it makes sense when I look at it through a constructive lens. I get it. I don't necessarily agree, but I'm not confused by that one. Confused by fucking Salah. That's what I'm confused by.
Gator McCluskey, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, "Hey Green Bean, you rule, bro. How nervous are you guys that Deshaun Watson could be in our division? Would any of you trade Zach for Watson straight up?" I would absolutely not trade Zach for Watson straight up. And this is someone who I really wanted. I would have given up 3 first-round picks, including the number 2 overall, to get Watson prior to everything going on. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal quarterback. I think he could take this team to heights we haven't seen in a very, very long time. For those of you that don't know, there were some tweets that came out. I don't know how valid they are, but these guys got the blue check mark next to them. Houston Chronicle reports Dolphins and Texans have agreed on trade terms for Watson, but Dolphins want his legal issues resolved before consummating the deal. Good luck with that. Chronicle suggests Ross wants clarity from Goodell on length of potential suspension. Good luck with that again. And then from Dan Graziano, Goodell on Deshaun Watson says league doesn't yet have all the information from law enforcement investigations and would need more than it has in order to put him on the commissioner's exempt list. So the way I'm reading that is that since he's not on the exempt list right now, technically Deshaun Watson could play. So if the Dolphins did trade for Watson, he's playing as of right now until more information comes out. So I guess I'll throw this to you guys. How would you let me say my thoughts first. So Deshaun Watson in the division. One, I don't want him in the division. My whole thing this whole year has been I really hope Tua plays well enough that the Dolphins don't trade for Watson, but I hope he plays poorly enough that I can enjoy watching him play on the Dolphins. So I don't want Watson there. I really don't. But there's a little part of me that would love to watch the Dolphins fan base just completely crumble and implode if they give away all these picks for Watson, because you see guys, if you go on to Jet forums and like, hey, should the Jets trade for Watson at all? What do you think would happen? There are a ton of people that are like, I will drop my fanhood. I will not support a guy that's getting paid $100 million that did that to 20 or 22 different women, allegedly. But like, it's just not the personality you want to be giving that much money to at the most prominent position in football. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the Watson thing. I would hope he kind of just goes to either Carolina or the Eagles, so I don't have to worry about it altogether. If he goes to the Dolphins, I hope they give up a ton of picks, and I hope he winds up, never playing a snap for him. Matt, how are you feeling about Watson?
I would very much so like him to go to the NFC, just because I don't want to have the potential of having to deal with him. Because, like, if you just want to look at specifically the player, if he is on the field able to play, he's a top 5 to 7 quarterback in this league. Now, obviously, you can't put aside the alleged things. It's a huge deal and a big factor to this. And I don't think a trade would happen unless we got some more info on those issues that he's dealing with. So I don't think it's something we have to worry about right now, but I would very much so like him to go to, I don't know, maybe Washington or Philadelphia so he could bother the Giants a little bit.
I feel like Washington, based on the allegations and everything that's going on, feels like the perfect spot. I feel like Snyder would welcome him with open arms.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Green Bean, how you feeling about Watson?
I think fuck it. Why not?
Trade for him or let him go to Miami?
Let him go. No, I'm not trading anybody for anybody. This is the thing, man. Okay, I don't have a problem with the talent on the team. I don't have a problem with making the choice to move on from Sam Darnold and using your number 2 pick on the quarterback that 99% of this fan base wanted. Freaked out. They called him a combination of Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes and all this stuff. Okay, so he's here. Okay, we got your guy. He's here. So now we're going to talk about trading him. Again, there's more than enough talent on this team. What we are looking at, and not perfect. I'm not saying I love every player and that we don't need to upgrade and all that sort of stuff. Greg Van Roten is a great example. But it's like, guys, there is talent on the team. There is a misuse of talent. There is guys playing out of position. The schematics are out of whack. Our offensive line cannot figure out how to pick up stunts. When I'm telling you, dude, there is more than enough talent on the offensive line to be an average offensive line. No doubt in my brain. And that's even with a weak link on it like Greg Van Roten. There's more than enough talent. We're seeing it's across the board on the offense. You can say any one thing. Again, when I asked the question, if Andy Reid had this exact offense, would we be scoring points? Everybody says the same thing. I've asked probably 15 people that today. Every single person said yes. So how is that a talent thing? So why am I going to trade the kid we have is good. We know it's going to take a long time. My problem is that we're not even looking competent. That's it. Man, all we wanted this year was competitive football. We would have taken 0-16 or 0-17 if we were competitive, losing by a field goal and all. I wouldn't even care. But we're not even able to show up in Foxborough. And our coaches they're so disconnected. They don't understand the level of pain that is for us Jets fans. They came into our house and beat the hell out of us. You go in their house after a bye and you lay an egg like that and then come out and say, hey, man, we're good. We know what we're doing. We're going to win championships. Like that to me is where the problem is. There's a major disconnect. There's a major misallocation of resources. And that to me is the biggest, most bothersome thing. I have no problem with Zach Wilson. I think he's a good kid and he's going to take a while, but I think he's good.
I was stumbling across the Jet forums, and I guess there was a Reddit post from one of the Jane Does, because they're not giving out any of the names for the masseuses. One of the things Watson asked, he eventually got specific and said he wanted her to work on his inner anus. The plaintiff ignored this request because it was odd.
Wait, what? Say that again. I missed that.
He goes, so I shouldn't be laughing at this because it's bad.
Right. That's
because Watson eventually got specific and said he wanted her to work on his inner anus. The plaintiff ignored this request because it was odd.
Not the outer anus.
Not the outer anus. He wants a digit.
Yeah, what that's called is a colon rub. You guys don't get those?
Colonoscopy. We're not that old yet, Green Bean.
You guys ever have a colonic?
No.
I had to have a colonoscopy once.
Did you?
The damn celiac disease. Yeah, it ain't, the prep sucks, man. I was knocked out procedure though. So
did you have to drink all that barium and stuff, Matt?
Oh yeah, it was like a gallon. It was awful.
It's fucking gross.
Worst day of my life by far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. I had a colonic one time, like where they go in and they flush you out and everything, and you're supposed to see everything like fucking food from the 80s supposed to come out.
Amazing.
I did that in a place called Nirvana. It was this really chic spa where they do all kinds of, fringe treatments and everything, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it
sounds like an enema. Not
it's
exactly
very much like one. It's supposed to go way up in there though, and they flush you with like a hose almost.
You got a fire hydrant up there, man.
Then they rub your belly, and it's the whole thing.
I kind of love where some of these conversations wind up going on Tuesday nights. It's not always about the football.
Dude, it has to go
TJ
somewhere else.
Decker and Johnny Bravo. I don't know if I said Johnny Bravo. You guys are both qualified for a T-shirt at the end of this stream. Kyle Ormsby, your comment flew through my little comment thing, so I can't put it on the screen. But he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just rooting for Seattle and Carolina to lose so we can hopefully trade back with our own top 5 pick. That's a good jumping off point for that too. Like right now, I feel like most of us probably think the Jets are going to wind up with a top 5 pick. And as of right now, I believe we're number 4 because we've had our bye week. We have the Lions at 1, the Eagles by way of the Dolphins at 2, the Texans at 3, the Jets at 4, and then the the Jaguars at 5. So I guess it's going to be a big game when the Jets play the Texans and the Jets play the Jaguars this year. So it's going to be very interesting. We see all these teams except for Detroit. We see Philly, although it's Miami twice, Houston, Jacksonville, and then the Eagles are sitting at 6. So it's kind of interesting. Right now, the Jets Seattle pick is at 8. So yeah, I'm rooting for Seattle to lose because I was rooting for us to win. Now I'm sort of in this weird flux of like, I want us to win for the morale of the team, but like, I don't want to win with like Frank Gore and Rashad Perriman and like the guys that weren't going to be here. Like basically the sort of stuff that happened last year. If we're winning with the young guys, we're winning with Michael Carter, we're winning with Elijah Moore, with Corey Davis, with those guys. Different story. If those guys play well and they show they're good players, I'm all right with that. But I think the Jets are going to wind up with the top 5 pick. If we were to have played a 6th game or a 7th game and we were say 1-6, we would currently own the 2nd overall pick. We do have the easiest strength of schedule, so we will beat most tiebreakers, at least at this point in the season. So I guess let's say if the Jets get a top 5 pick, Green Bean, would you want the Jets to trade out of that pick? Let's say Seattle's pick ends up at 12. Let's say they're not a top 10 pick. They sit at 12. What do you want the Jets to do?
Matt.
I said Green Bean.
Oh, did you? I wasn't listening. Sorry. I thought you were talking to Matt. I thought I had a second. I'm sorry. And that was a long thing. My bad, Ryan. Funny.
Sorry, I rambled a bit. So
the chat's annoying me tonight. I got to be honest. Sorry. Go on.
That's all right. If the Jets get a top 5 pick and Seattle say winds up around pick 12, what do you want the Jets to do with that top 5 pick? Are you trading it down? Is there a threshold? Like, is it the 3rd pick, 2nd pick? Like, where are you where the Jets should trade down or make the pick?
Well, look, obviously there's a whole lay of the land that we don't know yet, right? But just from where we are right now, if we're at pick 5, you say, and
we're at pick 4 right now.
All right, so we're at pick 4. And if there's a couple quarterbacks up there that people want to trade up for, I try to get a trade going. I try to keep this 2 first-round picks a year thing going as long as I can. But if Thibodeau keeps having the year that he's having and he keeps looking as dominant as he is, I find it hard to pass on a guy at a need like that. You know what I mean? Like for me, like people want Stingley, or some other cornerback. That's not where I am. I like our cornerbacks and their development. Not to say I don't think we should take one, but not with our top pick, right? So I think edge rusher would be, and him in particular would probably be something that I would consider. But if somebody was moving up, like, hey man, we'll give you a 1st this year, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 1st next year, and a 4th. Like, I don't know. I might have to do that. So I'm looking to trade though. I'll be open for business.
Matt, what about you?
It really is a bad answer, but it really depends on how the board falls. But I love Green Bean with all my heart. I'm getting sick and tired of trying to trade back and accumulate draft picks. And we need some players in here. And if there's some high-end guys sitting there, I'd rather take some high-end guys and even move up with your other first-round pick, like what they did with Seattle's pick. Because I just don't think you can keep having 9+ player draft classes year after year after year. I think you need to get, some of these guys in here, or even use some picks to trade for established players, because whatever they're doing is clearly not working right now.
But when have we traded back?
Well, he's thinking quality over quantity.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. I'm not saying go back
up to the Seattle pick from 20, you go up to 14, you get Vera Tucker. Like, I'm all for that. Right. I don't need the extra. I don't need the 3rd round pick. If I could use a 3rd round pick, go up from 12 to 8, maybe we get someone that's fallen there. I like Thibodeau. That would be the pick I would like to make. I'll be lying if I didn't say, like, part of me wants to go into free agency, get Brandon Sheriff at right guard, go with the friggin' tackle from Alabama with our pick, and then wind up taking Linderbaum with the Seattle pick and just have a friggin' wall in front of Zach Wilson and just roll from there. Figure it all out. Go any other position after that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think if I'm top 3, I would really like to trade out.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a player, at least at this point right now. I haven't done a whole heck of a lot of research. I had us taking Stingley the one time because I think we were sitting at the 6th pick, which I think is not a prime position to trade out of. But if we're sitting at 2, I think there's a real good shot we can move down.
Yeah, and I know what Matt's saying, but like the truth is that we only talk about trading back. I don't recall the Jets ever trading back.
I don't. They haven't, but I'm just the idea of accumulating more draft picks has just been something that I don't know. I feel like that's been the thing now for the last couple of years.
They're so good.
It's like a lotto ticket, though.
Yeah,
but
that's
I love the multiple lotto ticket. Like if you're sitting in the top 5,
that's how I see it.
Like if I could go from say 2 or 3, and I could fall back to 6 or 7, and I can get a first in 2023, and I'm still picking in the top 10. Yeah. We have a lot of holes. Like there's usually like 7 to 10 blue chippers in a draft, and I think you could still get one of them, while also possibly getting one that falls down at like 12 potentially. So like. I think because we have the Seattle pick, I'm a little more willing to wheel and deal, and just sort of having that backstock of picks. Like if I could trade down and just kind of keep making picks, I like that.
Yeah, no, it's funny just how you.
Like, I don't want to go back to like the late teens.
No way. You want it to be like that team that's at 6 that wants to just get ahead of the other. They want to get ahead of Detroit. You know what I mean? So you take, but like, just like how you said, the way I see it is just like Matt said, he said, they're lotto tickets. I literally look at it that way, but having 2 lotto tickets in the top 15, in my opinion, is better than 1 lotto ticket in the top 5. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Sure. Right now. So let's play a little, what if, like if this was the final standings, teams that could be possibly coming up for a quarterback. I don't think Philadelphia is going to do it yet. I guess we'll see what happens with Hurts the rest of the year. Washington is sitting at 9 right now. I think that's an option. Denver at 12 if Aaron Rodgers doesn't work out, I think is a potential option. Depending on what happens with Houston. Houston's sitting at 3 right now. I don't think they're going to win a whole heck of a lot of games. And obviously Detroit at number 1 right now, it would probably take a quarterback, I would think.
You know what sucks though? This quarterback class isn't any good. So I don't know who anyone's trading up for.
They always do.
Yeah. I mean, right now, look, I'll be honest. I didn't think Zach Wilson would be where he was. I thought it was going to be Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields as the top 3 guys in that order. And there's going to be guys that rise. Right now they're saying Matt Corral from Ole Miss. Like Tankathon has their mock draft. So they have Kayvon Thibodeau going 1 to the Lions. They do have 2 first-round picks in 2023, so they don't have to pull the trigger if they don't love one of the quarterbacks. Matt Corral going 2 to the Eagles. Malik Willis from Liberty going to the Texans at 3. They have the Jets taking Stingley Jr., which I don't really think is going to happen. We've had a lot of talks about this. Like this defense is so predicated on edge rush that it doesn't seem like they're going to put a premium on a cornerback in here. Evan Neal, the tackle from Alabama, to the Jaguars. Kyle Hamilton to the Eagles at 6. DeMarvin Leal, the D lineman from Texas A&M, going to the Giants. The Jets at number 8 by way of Seattle, taking Aiden Hutchinson, the edge from Michigan. And then Carson Strong, the quarterback from Nevada. So there's a few. They actually have, 1, 2, 3. They have 3 in the top 10. Then they have Sam Howell at 12 to Denver.
Howell and Spencer Rattler really shit the bed this year. They were the ones who looked like they were going to go 1-2, and they're Corral. Yeah, the Liberty. I have a hard time taking from Liberty in the top 10.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough justification, isn't it?
Coming from the Jet fans that took a BYU quarterback at number 2. Right? Let's be serious here for a second.
Liberty's another level down, though, man.
It is. I know it is.
You know what I mean? It's like the USA conference, aren't they?
Yeah.
Both those quarterbacks are 6'1". Corral is 205. Willis is 215. Rattler's not even on this list. Let's see when they have him going.
He's probably like a 3rd or 4th rounder at this point.
He may not even come out this year. I think he's got another year of eligibility. I would stay in school if I were him. I don't think it's worth coming out if you're going to be dropping that far. I think he's going to transfer, personally.
He should.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. I think I would be moving back with a team that wants a quarterback, and then you take it could be the tackle, it could be, maybe Thibodeau does fall a little bit. Like if we wind up with the first pick and we could fall back to 3, and it's really like the third, like the Texans want to leapfrog the Eagles to get their quarterback. Like that's best case scenario because now you're getting the best non-quarterback in the draft.
I'm not sold that a quarterback's going 1.
No, I know. I'm saying if we got number 1, and like if there were, say there was a quarter, like say there were 2 teams that wanted quarterbacks at 2 and 3, like I think 3 might want to leapfrog 2.
Okay, I guess I see what you're saying. All right.
I mean, I guess it depends. If it's the Eagles at number 2, I don't necessarily see them taking a quarterback, which is tough. The Texans feel like the only lock to take a quarterback.
And I don't know, man. I think the Eagles would too. Do they like?
I don't think he's any good.
Yeah,
I don't think he's the answer for them. Yeah, I don't think he's the answer for them, but I think he's so young because this is his second year, right? So do you just let it kind of play out? Because you have 3 first-round picks this year. I think they're probably a team that would look to trade down and kind of pass the buck to next year. I don't know. Just my thinking. What else we got going on? Edward Ziff, I missed your comment, but he says O-line, edge, corner in the draft. So look, we need to fix this. Center is the biggest issue for me because McGovern's going into his last year next year. Van Roten is definitely the biggest issue, I think, on the line from a liability standpoint, but I think he's gone after this year. And then we're going to need a right tackle. Both Fant would be going into his last year, I think, next year, and Moses is only on a 1-year deal. So O-line, as much as we've put a bunch of resources into it, is still an area of need for this team.
Switch the last one with tight end, and you sold me. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I could go O-line, edge, tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Corner, I do think in the top 3 rounds is something we should consider for sure. But I do like the 2 O-linemen for sure. What about you, Green Bean? How you feeling about O-line, edge, corner?
In that order?
First 2 rounds.
Yeah. Fuck it. I mean, I really want I'm all about an edge rusher, a premier blue chip edge rusher in this draft. So for me, just now, and I haven't deconstructed everything and all that stuff that we do. But I'm a big fan of our first pick, whether it's at 4 overall or whether it's at 6, whatever it is. I think like if we can't pull off a trade back that keeps us in the top 10, I'm taking the best edge rusher on the board, somebody that fits our scheme. I want an animal. So that's me, but I'm all about grabbing another offensive lineman in the first. Look, Joe Douglas has used a first-round pick in both of his years to, invest in the offensive line. I don't see that as something he's afraid to do. So I think it's likely that we'll see within our first 4 picks that we do grab one. I think that's what to expect. It's what I expect. But I don't know if it's going to be that top pick. I think more than likely he's probably going to get the edge rusher, or maybe
edge rusher is Hamilton. Edge rusher is such an interesting position because we haven't had it for so long. And don't you say safety? Get the hell out of here.
I love him.
I don't want it. Oh, I got so much PTSD from Jamal Adams. I just can't do it.
No, if my options are trade out or take him, I'm trading out then. You can sell me on that.
Oh, 100%. If I were to say, it really depends on what happens in free agency because I like Lawson coming back. I'm not going to bank my entire edge rush on him. Like if we can go out and get a Chandler Jones after the season, because I doubt he gets franchise tagged, or maybe I don't even know who's an edge rusher that's coming up. I think Von Miller's a free agent, but he's going to go somewhere to win a ring. They're going to be ring hunting at this point, I would think. Let's see. Where's free agent tracker? Free agent tracker. There we go. Edge rushers: Von Miller, Chandler Jones, JPP, Jerry Hughes, Clowney, Emmanuel Ogbah, Mario Addison, Dante Fowler Jr., Hassan Riddick, Tack McKinley, Melvin Ingram. None of them are really going to be.
Hassan's had a good year.
What was that?
No, I thought I was on mute. I was yelling at my family. Hold on a second.
Matt,
Hassan Reddick's had a good year.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could be talking.
He's got a void year, so he can't get franchise tagged. He'll be 28 years old.
I was going to say, I feel like he's younger than some of those other guys you were mentioning.
Yeah. Von Miller, 33. Chandler Jones, 32. JPP, 33.
Yeah.
Jerry Hughes, 34. If we're looking at pure age, Dante Fowler Jr. has a void year. He'll be 20, or he is 28. Hassan Reddick, 28 with a void year. You want to look for players with a void year because that means they can't get franchise tags. So it's kind of a nice little tip of the hand there. I'd have to go through Randy Gregory if you're all about that. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in free agency and how that affects how we look at the draft. I think there's a few interesting options for tight end in free agency, which might allow us to push tight end a little bit further back, like Matt was kind of saying, either the end of the second round or maybe third round. For me, is kind of the sweet spot for tight end. I don't want to spend a first or second, a high second on a tight end because I want to say Njoku, 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞, although I think 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 is going to be franchise tagged if he's not re-signed because I think they have a bunch of cap space.
Probably.
I don't like Njoku. You like him?
I like Njoku. I like his upside. It's sort of the same thing with him. Like, I'm not trying to either one of those guys without taking another tight end in the draft. Like, I don't think there's any tight end right now that would prevent me from drafting a tight end. Like, we're just so thin at the position.
Just want to say something. Do you guys remember me talking about tight end last year as a greater need than wide receiver? Remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can do your victory lap, Green Bean.
No, I won't do that. The one victory lap that I had to take was the Deshaun Watson stuff. That was hilarious to me.
Oh, dude, I wanted Watson in the first way. I was so sure we were getting Watson, and I really think we would have had him. I think if things didn't go sideways, I think we make the trade for him. And I'm glad we didn't. Because man, how much would it suck if the Jets gave up 3 first-round picks for Watson and now his ass is like out for a year, on the exempt list for a year? Oh,
no good.
We dodged a bullet there for sure. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Looks like we're talking tight ends. Adam Gase's tight ends.
Funny. Like, people, I want to just address something while you peruse. People think that Joe Douglas is on the hot seat. I'm going to tell you right now that is the furthest thing from the truth. I need you guys to understand that. Like, the ownership here is not even considering if Joe Douglas is not going to be here. He's going to be here at least those 6 years, and they're probably going to extend him. I want to bring up an example, all right? And I use this because 2 people sent it to me. It said that the Arizona Cardinals are the exact model of what we should do and why Joe Douglas should be looked at for getting fired. I want to point out that their general manager has been there since 2013, had a DUI arrest, hired 3 coaches, hired 1 coach, Steve Wilkes, and then drafted a top 10 quarterback. 1 year later, fired the coach and drafted another top 1 quarterback, and that it took them 3 years to become really relevant. So again, you guys think that 6 games mean he's on the hot seat. Dude, you have to let somebody tear it down and build. The talent to be competitive is here. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. You can bitch and moan and everything for as much as you want. Joe Douglas is not on the hot seat. It's not even on their radar. I just want you guys to agree.
I think next year. Maybe next year at that point you could start talking about hot seat, but there's no chance that right now he is on the hot seat at all.
Yeah, no, there's 0 chance that I would move on from Douglas regardless of what happens the rest of the way out this year. He has so much money. He hasn't really gone out and spent the big bucks. He's got the draft picks. I will say this offseason is a big offseason. You have to protect Zach. You have to get him weapons, and you have to get this team fired up. I think if you go out and you spend a lot of money on players, there's not necessarily I don't love buying free agents because of the sort of inward reflection that you have to have with like, okay, why are you paying all these outside guys, but you're not paying your own guys? But we've already shown with John Franklin Myers, we're willing to pay our own players. So I think that kind of knocks it down a little bit. But if you go out and you sign some exciting players, like, hey, this team, that's a key to the rest of the team saying, hey, we are interested in winning now. Like this is our window. It's while Zach Wilson's on his rookie contract, let's give him as much support as we can. The worst thing that could happen is that we start drafting defensive player, and then we don't support our young quarterback, and we wind up shooting ourselves in the foot the same way we did with Sanchez, the same way we did with Geno, the same way we did with Sam. So yeah, rant over. Douglas is not on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Ryan Schwinger drops in with a super chat. Ryan says, love our cornerbacks, Hall, May, Eccles. But I think we need to look at safety. No Joyner or May next year, probably, and Ashton hasn't been healthy. Yeah, I'm not relying on Ashton Davis. I do think safety is going to be an area of need for us. I would love to bring back LaMarcus Joyner. I really would. I thought he was going to have a really big year this year, going from that nickel position back to his safety position. So I would bring him back and look for another full-time starter. Do you guys think safety is a top 3 round need at all? Is it a free agent need? Is it not a need? What do you think, Matt? I see you shaking your head.
I was kind of trying to think out loud. Safety, I value safety about where I'm valuing running back right about now. It's very low on my priority list in that I don't want to spend huge money on it, or spend a top, 50 pick on it. But you want to start talking 3rd round looking for a safety? Okay. You want to bring in a middle of the pack safety in a free agency? That's fine. I just don't want to allocate, huge resources, whether it be through the draft or free agency on that position. The ones that I'm looking at: offensive line, edge, tight end, linebacker. I think those 4 positions are significantly more important at building and getting better than safety.
Yeah. The only safety that I even consider higher than the 3rd round is Kyle Hamilton. Believe me when I tell you I'm in 100% agreement with what Matt just said, except when you have the ability to grab a guy that has the potential to have Troy Polamalu impact on a team, then it's very hard to pass that by. And Kyle Hamilton is the first safety that I've seen since the Ed Reed Polamalu coming out years that even smells like that situation. It's like no other safety. They go, it's a top safety in the draft. That's it. He's a top safety in the draft. Doesn't feel anything like when Ed Reed and Polamalu came into the league. Kyle Hamilton is going to be that. So for me, that's the only guy I consider it. But if you're not there, or if he slips down to your 2nd, 1st round pick, I think you got to consider it, man. I really do. That said, I'm on the same page. But the one player, he's the epitome of what they overuse that word generational every year now. We have generational guys. He's actually generational. So that's my only thought on that.
Yeah, the cornerback wise for me, I like Hall. I don't want to overly rely on him. I like Michael Carter II. Safeties, I think I'm with you guys. I'm sort of in that running back realm, like 3rd, 4th round is sort of the sweet spot. I think maybe I don't want to say a journeyman, but maybe someone like if Jabril Peppers isn't on the Giants next year, maybe that's someone you consider bringing in. I don't know what his contract looks like, but someone of that talent level, I think is right. Cornerback wise, I would like to spend a top 2 round pick on one, because I don't know who's going to be available in free agency, but I think we go 1 offensive lineman in the 1st round. I don't know. I see edge as a huge need. I would like to see edge early. Like before the season, if you had asked me, I would say edge, center, cornerback, tight end. That would sort of be the, like, in my mind where I'd like to go. I just don't know if there's an edge I really love. I'm a little worried about 𝐒𝐫𝐲. I'm not going to lie. Like, he seems really lean. I just worry about injury. The guy's impressive. And he could be the top non-quarterback taken. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on the cornerbacks?
I like them.
The ones we have, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like, who can deny that they have played better than their draft position, right? Like, can anybody really argue that they haven't? Right? Like, is that fair to say, you think?
Oh, no, I
Like,
think you're spot on. They have absolutely played better than their draft position.
So look, and it's not to say that we're locked down or anything, but there's a lot of potential there. And that's the kind of thing, like, when you do buy into having a young team, you have to weather that kind of stuff. You got to weather them making a stupid penalty. You got to weather them, getting burned. You got to weather all that stuff as they kind of get their feet underneath them in the NFL. What we're seeing as a team is not that. Like, we're not seeing progress. We're not seeing rookie mistakes. We're seeing a complete breakdown from the top down, right? In the coaching and on the game. But as far as our defensive backs go, like, that's the one area of this team I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, we have all 5th, 6th, and 6th round picks and undrafted free agents. And I have to say, like, there's potential there. And I'd like to see more of them. Not to say that if you on your draft board, like, one of your top 3 players slides down, and it's like, hey man, we got to pull the trigger, and then you at least have that competition. I think that's smart too. I'm not saying don't take a cornerback, but I'm really happy with those guys, and I'd like to see if that defensive backfield or just the cornerbacks really can develop into a unit for us. I think that would be awesome.
Jay Spector says Peppers has a torn ACL. So, well, there goes my my thought process on Peppers. But someone of his
jump. I mean, like, Kyle Hamilton's hurt. Like, I know it's supposed to be one game. It's one game.
John Heidendal. Thank you for the super chat. He says, guys, I was so high on the season. What the fuck happened? It seems like half the team is on IR. Cashman days are over. Yeah, Cashman that was his knock in college. The dude was always injured.
Right.
So yeah, I don't see that going away anytime soon. I think he's donezo as a Jet.
Let me tell you, Ryan, when I was yelling Ross Pierschbacher in the 2019 draft and McCagden pulled Blake Cashman, who was literally home with a torn ACL at the time, I was like, this is stupid. This is so stupid. And look, it sucks. The guy's clearly a talented, driven, hardworking man. He's come back from, I think, 4 season-ending injuries now. Like, that's where he's on his 4th. You got to give it to him for coming back and all that stuff. But dude, it's time to realize you don't have an NFL career, and we need to stop using roster spots. Like Matt just said, linebacker, and we were all screaming linebacker in last year's draft. And one of the look, Sherwood's out, and we got 2 ACLs this year. So it's like, it's crazy, man. But Blake Cashman, that ship has sailed, in my opinion, man.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I did not like the Blake Cashman pick from Jump Street because of the injuries, and it's insane. It's like a novel reading all his injuries, and that from just the NFL. It's unbelievable how much he's been hurt. And like you guys said, like, I get it. I respect him for trying to come back and make that push, but it's done. It's over.
It's done. You can't keep, using roster spots. That draft, our last 2 picks, while we ignored the offensive line almost entirely, we got Blake Cashman, who was out that year with a knee injury, and then with our last pick, we took Blesson Austin, who had missed 2 years with knee injuries in Rutgers. So I wasn't exactly happy about that draft. Now, that's the kind of injury. You want to talk about a GM sucking. That's what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how bad it gets. People, I don't think they know what they're talking about. That's what I think, Matt.
Ouroboros Nagyak. Thank you for the $2 super chat. That is a hard name to pronounce. But thank you for the super chat. I don't see a question attached to it, but thank you all the same. RJ McPott said, thank you for the super chat. He says, do you go Stingley and Hamilton if Watson is in Miami, or if Watson is Miami bound? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. It's not happening. Taking the center. I'll take the center at 8 if I have to. I'm not taking 2 secondary pieces.
Yeah, what about the having to deal with the Patriots and Bills defense twice a year too? That's a thing. So give me the offensive guys.
Green Bean, what about you? Stingley and Hamilton if Watson goes to Miami?
Is Thibodeau on the board? Because the answer is no. Yeah, probably not. I understand the logic, and no, I don't think so. I'm taking Hamilton if he's there with my second first, probably. And I know, believe me, I'm well aware, but I don't know if I could pass that kid. And let's say if he's injured all year, different story. You know what I mean? Let me just say, that's what I said. As we stand right now.
So would you go Thibodeau and then Hamilton at say like 8, 9, 10? If you went Thibodeau that or like I just can't justify like not taking an offensive lineman. I feel like
I hear you. And then you use your 2 seconds on offensive line. You know, look at what offensive linemen were there in the second round the last, let's just say 2-3 years.
Imagine if we had Trey Smith right now. Yeah, it'd be great. Could have changed this entire offensive line.
That's right.
We were all screaming for him.
Right. We loved him.
That was frustrating.
Like, that's the thing. I want to make sure that everybody understands. It's like, it's not to say that guys like us don't have issues with, you know, some of the picks or some of the moves. It's like, but you got to look at the whole. And people say Joe Douglas he can't build an offensive line. It's like, dude, we have 2 first-round picks, a 4th-round pick that was he was more than likely the projected starter. He had an injury where they thought he was paralyzed. You know, then we had another guy in the competition retire suddenly. So it's like things don't always work the way that you want them. That's probably the reason that they didn't invest another draft pick at guard and they went linebacker and defensive backs because they didn't have anybody back there. So I do understand, even though I probably would have taken Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and just a host of other guys, I probably take another offensive lineman in there. But it's not like it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You can see it. It does make sense, even if I do disagree with some things. You know what I mean?
Sure. Levi Griffiths donates €5. Says, Jets, please never come back to London. NFL, just a slow rugby with no cardio and armor. Most boring sport I've ever seen. Please keep it in America. Oh, Levi.
So boring. With chat.
We're sorry. We didn't mean to send a flop of a team over there. We thought we were going to perform a little better.
You guys keep soccer.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. It's funny. I don't recall. I've never had the urge to go to a rugby forum and tell them their sport sucks. So something's going on. Football's got you somehow, Levi.
I love it, Levi. You can hang out with us. You're fine.
Yeah.
Just got to root for our Jets. They can stay in America. That's fine. All right. Here's our comment from. All right, Matt. I want you to try and say this name because I can't say it.
Christ Almighty!
That's a lot of vowels.
Ouroboros, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐻𝑒𝐿𝐵𝐻. Love
it.
I don't know, man. That you got me.
I love it. He says remake Salah's 49ers with Thibodeau. Got to 2 Super Bowls with a bum quarterback. Were they in 2 or were they in 1? They were in 1, weren't they?
1.
Yeah. 1. I like Thibodeau. Edge rusher is a big need. If Carl Lawson didn't tear an Achilles and it was an ACL, I would say maybe forego the edge rusher. But man, that Achilles scares the living daylights out of me. I hope we find a way to land a legit blue chipper at edge rush and then go Linderbaum. That would be my ideal top 2 picks, I think.
Thibodeau, Linderbaum. Oh yeah, you're talking my language now.
Yeah, that's for me. That's shiny because I don't mind throwing money at Sheriff. I don't know what it's going to cost to get him. If it's $15 million a year, I mean, I guess.
Tooney got a ton, so it'll be more than
18, I think.
Yeah, it'll probably be freaking $20 million a year.
I mean, it could be. I guess he's older though. I think Sheriff is. I think Tooney was like 28, maybe. Let me see. Right guard. Sheriff's 31.
So it's probably going to be a shorter term.
He's getting 18 right now. His franchise tag's 18. Shit.
Yeah, he's going to cost a fortune.
Damn. I don't know, man. I want him. I don't know how much you'd have to pay him. Do you pay him 3 years, $60 million to get him? Or are you going somewhere else?
I don't know. I'm probably trying to find it in the draft at that point.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to devote to guard. Andrew Norwell from the Jaguars, 31 years old. He'll be a free agent. Isn't there a guy from the Cowboys that's going to be a free agent? Connor Williams, 25. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, that's where I'd go.
What if you go with the center and kick McGovern over to guard?
That's what I'd like.
I like that. Because I like that a lot. The thing for me though is the free agency happens first, right? So if you can address guard there, I don't know if there's if there's anything weird with left guard, right guard, or if you could, because he technically plays left guard. His valuation on over the cap has him valued on a week by week basis. So for the 6 games they've played or that he's played, 11 million. 10.5 million, 11.5 million, 4 million, 7 million, and then 13 million. So he's got a really nice graph for where his value is at right now. What's their? I would love to know their cap situation for next year. What are they at next year? They're over the cap. He's walking. He'll be gone. That's who I'm targeting in free agency.
How old?
He's 25.
Yeah, that's interesting. If he somehow hits the market, then sure.
Yeah, he's 24 right now. He will be 25. I think, unless there's a... Hold on, let me just make sure there's no like weird... Yeah, no, they have to either franchise tag him, transition tag him, or extend him. I like that. That makes me feel good. Because then you can go... If you go with the guard, then you're hoping you can get Linderbaum. If we wind up with like a top 8, like if we get 8 from Seattle, then maybe you can slide back a few picks and still get Linderbaum. Like I don't love taking a center in the top 10. I don't love taking a center in the top 15 really. But he's one. Yeah,
I think you're getting a little too picky there at that point if you're gonna draw a hard line at 10 or top 10 or 15 if it's someone of that caliber.
Yeah. It's such a position in need too. You kind of just got to pull the trigger, I guess. I get excited. I love the draft because there's not much to look forward to in the regular season for our New York Jets, unfortunately. Max is NY Jets drops in with another super chat. He says next year's draft, Jets should draft Kyle Hamilton at 6, Linderbaum with the Seattle pick.
Max.
Green Bean loves it.
I do.
Maybe resign from
okay, well, let's
Matt?
Here, Matt. Let's put. Which way do I have to push this? Let's put Green Bean off to the side for now, and let's you and I talk this through. What would have to happen for us to take Hamilton? Like Jets are sitting at pick 5, 6, let's say somewhere in there, and Hamilton's sitting there. Free agency, we would have had to address guard and edge. I think for me. Because I would like to address tight end too, but I'm not taking a tight end in the top 10. So I'm not as concerned there. If corner's not a huge area of priority, I guess, in this defense, so maybe corner's not in that discussion. I don't love linebacker that early unless you get someone like a Micah Parsons. Parsons has been filthy.
Yeah, if corner's not necessary in this defense, then what's safety then? Because that's even less important.
Is it though?
Why don't we just have all linemen? Fuck it.
We could have linemen play the second.
No, but like I'm saying, if you're saying that you're not going to take a corner that high because it's not necessary in this defense, then safety is even less so. Like, have you really noticed that much of a difference with Marcus May out when he was out?
No, you're right.
Well,
with the Falcons game, yes.
Well, I think the fact that we can't cover tight ends. Am I on? All right. The fact that we can't cover tight ends or stop screens and all that. I mean, a lot of that's safety in addition to the linebackers.
Didn't May miss a tackle on a screen?
Fucking gross style. Terrible.
The first that
was a tackle behind the line. And instead it went for what, 20?
At least
Something
20, right?
Yeah, you guys know.
I don't know. We just did this in 2017 with Jamal. I know that this kid might be better.
That's why my PTSD is there. Like I can't
I
rationalize safety in the top 10. I really can't.
That's
Not with all the needs this team has.
You missed the playoffs for a decade by drafting safeties, linebackers, and defensive tackles in the top 10 every year.
Oh, I hear you. I do.
Yeah, I think I'd rather take the tackle. I would go tackle and
give me Evan Neal
if we can't get Thibodeau. Yeah. Let's see. We got our favorite. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I missed a super chat. Let me go to Alex first, then we'll go back to that one. Alex says, "What if we took Evan Neal?" Oh, see, there's a parrot in the room. What if we took Evan Neal with our pick and then corner like Andrew Booth or 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐫𝐷 with the Seattle pick? I still want Linderbaum. I'm sorry, center's such a big need. Like I would rather double dip at O-line than look at defense other than edge rusher in the first round, I think.
Edge is first, in my opinion.
Yes.
It really is. That's 100%. But it depends who's there. Like, is Thibodeau the only top guy, or is Hutchinson, like, worthy of a top 10 pick? Are there other guys that could pop up there? I don't know. It's just...
I liked Hutchinson last year, man, but he chose to stay in school. I thought that he was exactly the type of guy Joe Douglas would like to.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that makeup that Joe Douglas likes, so maybe.
Yeah. I don't want to go corner. If we take Evan Neal, I still want Linderbaum. Linderbaum's like the one guy in this draft that I like desperately want the Jets to come away with.
Yeah. You know, and the thing is about me with the cornerbacks, it's not that I don't think that cornerbacks, I mean, I do. I think that the edge, like the pressure from the defensive line is the most important thing. But I feel like I said, I like these cornerbacks. I'd like to, I mean, maybe at the end of the year, I'll have a different opinion, but I'd like to see them develop for a while. I don't see them as like a dire need to go up there and use one of your premium picks on a cornerback. Like I said, second round. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? But the top two, I'm pretty much edge and O-line, but you know, even tight end. But I'm just saying, if Kyle Hamilton's there, for me, I got to consider it. That's all I'm saying. Just a singular player thing. But I'm with you guys 100%. I just like it.
Our buddy with the crazy name, I love you. Thank you so much. For the super chat, I won't try to butcher that name again. He says, first pick, Thibodeau. Stingley, if Thibodeau is gone. Second pick, wide receiver, quarterback, offensive tackle, D-end, wide receiver, cornerback are what you draft. Oh, are what you draft high. Okay, sorry. Not what we are going to draft high, but are what you draft high.
Okay, yes.
That's how you build winners. Wide receiver need because Mims, bust, Crowder, gone.
Bust, fuck out of here. Come on.
No, sorry. I'm holding on to Mims another 2 years. I'm letting him figure it out.
Wait, what did he say?
He said
So,
Mims.
no. Well,
Mims a bust. Oh my god.
he says Mims a bust. I mean, to his
Silly.
to his point, Mims is not playing much right now, so he is in a sense a bust for us right now. It's a waste of a second round pick until we get him on the field more. Thibodeau first pick. I don't love the Stingley pick. Like even when I did my mock draft, I still didn't really love that pick. Second pick wide receiver. I just can't justify that. Our wide receiver room is so deep. Like I can understand people saying we need a legitimate number one. If you don't think Corey Davis is that, if you think Corey Davis is a high end number two, I don't see a wide receiver that I just fall in love with that I'd go with our second first round pick. I'm going to stick with it. I still want Linderbaum. I don't think there's any situation where I don't draft Linderbaum with that second first round pick.
Yeah. I hear you, man. And I'm all about moving McGovern over to guard. I mean, I'm in my opinion, it's what we should have done last year. Again, I believe strongly that they had a 3-person battle for the guard. 2 of those people went out, and we were left with Greg Van Roten. He brought in 2 more guards to kind of backfill that, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I really believe this was the year that they wanted Cam Clark to be able to make it into the lineup. And that's probably why they didn't double dip when they had elsewhere, like linebackers and cornerbacks and all that kind of stuff. But that was what I want. That was like my fantasy. It was, try to get one of these guards up top and then grab a center, and potentially move Greg Van Roten. Connor McGovern over to guard and have another guy pipeline or whatever it was. I really wanted that, man. I really wanted that double dip and probably a center so we could just move Connor McGovern over because that's his natural position anyway.
See, my thing with McGovern, I think he's a pretty good blocker. I just don't think he communicates with the line well. It feels like they're always missing assignments. So that would be, that's not really as much of an issue at right guard as it is at center. So I think he'd be a much better guard, actually.
Yeah, and like Mikey Mouse is saying that
with this. No, go on.
No, I'm saying Mikey Mouse is saying that McGovern won't move to guard. I disagree. I think that he would. I don't think. I mean, he was a guard for the first 3 years or 2 years of his career. So I don't know why. I think he would move over if you wanted him to move over.
Put it this way: about his caliber of play. If he were to ask for his release, do you think he's getting $9 million elsewhere? Probably not. I think he'll sit and learn. I think he'll sit and play guard for us for that 1 year.
Hey man, Elfline got what, 7.5?
Oh man, I cannot believe he got that much money. He just it was not worth it for me. As far as what he's saying, quarterback, tackle, D-end, wide receiver, cornerback are what you draft high. I completely agree. I think we're all on board with that. Right. Wide receiver has gotten higher up there the more we have kind of converted more to a passing league. That's not a position I would have really considered super, super high unless there was like a guy I really liked, like CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. He was so good. He is so good. Our buddy with the crazy name dropping in with another one. He says, look what Chase did for Burrow. Wide receiver room, never too deep. Interesting dilemma, right? Because they got what? Boyd. Who the hell's calling me?
Higgins.
It's fucking 10 o'clock at night. Why is the landscaper calling me? Fuck that guy.
Because there's leave. He wants to know how you want the shrub.
Oh, it's not even my landscaper. It's the one from work. Like, dude, it's 10 o'clock. Get the fuck out of here.
He's probably maybe he needs help. He's drunk and he's seen the ride.
Sprinklers are on. You don't know what the hell.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We can't get the sprinklers off. Come on, Ryan.
What's going on?
Help us.
Jamar Chase and what he did for Burrow, I was convinced. Oh, Transylvania hard cheese.
Isn't that weird?
Is that how? Do you like milk a vampire to like?
Look what it
get
says.
That cheese? Is that how that works?
It says aged in the spine-chilling Romanian salt cave.
Ooh.
Can you see it?
Spooky.
You can't read it. It's so blurry. Sorry.
I really thought the Bengals were going to be like I thought the Bengals were going to regret not drafting Sewell.
Yeah.
And them taking Chase. Complete 180 on where I thought it was going to be. Chase is phenomenal. I mean, I like Chase the prospect. I just thought Burrow would be getting beat up a lot more. I don't know. Matt, what do you think about this?
It's a good point. The issue is they took him, what, 4th or 5th?
5th, I think, right? Because it went 4 was Pitts.
Yeah, you're right. So 5.
I think 5 was Cincinnati.
Yeah, but point remains the same. Are the Jets at that point where they could take a wide receiver at 5?
Were the Bengals, though? I don't know. Like,
I know they just took T. Higgins the year before. Right. It didn't look,
I don't know. But that would be 3 wide receivers in the top 50 in a row. I don't. And you just paid Corey Davis $13 a year. Like,
yeah, we got to figure out how to use them, right, man? We're not using. We got 2 top 50 wide receivers, both of who were supposed to be first-round picks. They slid like so many great wide receivers before them. And like you said, we have Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder, and we can't seem to get these guys the ball. Like, I think the thing with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase was they were a connection in college, and the coach or the GM or whoever saw an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is pretty special little thing. And it's clearly working for them because I agree. I thought passing on Sewell was a fool's errand. You know what I mean? But clearly they saw it. But I don't think we should be drafting a wide receiver that high. Again, I maintain we have the talent. We're not using it.
𝐿'𝐿𝐿𝐿 drops in the super chat. He says, I like John Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State, in the second round. I'll be honest, I haven't watched enough of him, so I can't comment.
I think I'm gonna go the green bean route this year, man. Give me a tight end before a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Tight end for me is
𝐒𝐿𝐿
a huge need. I would like to double dip. I want to address one in free agency, and then you take one in the draft. You know, our fourth pick, like the second pick in the second round, third, fourth round, somewhere in there.
Do you like the Texas A&M kid, green bean, Weidermeyer?
Oh yeah, I do.
He's high up
Wasn't
there.
that the guy you were talking about last year, Matt? Wasn't that your boy?
Yeah, he didn't come out though.
Yeah, but I remember you were talking about him last year. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I think that's Matt's guy.
Yeah,
he's the top-rated tight end right now, right? He's top-rated. Billingsley is high up there. Yeah. I think he's the second or third tight end.
I like Ruckert. I was keeping tabs the first, I think, 3 games. Ruckert was having a fantastic year. I don't know. I haven't kept track. I don't know what he's doing right now. I haven't seen anything, and I love Charlie Kolar, dude. That guy, I wanted him last year, and he chose to stay in school too. And he was way up on my list then. So I think he's looking like a stud too. Let's go get him. You know?
I think this offense is so predicated on the talent at the tight end position and the ability to run the ball that, like, double dipping at O-line in the first round, or, you know, edge rusher O-line, and then taking someone like a Daniel Falele, the friggin' right tackle that's 400 pounds, 6'9".
Oh, that guy, he's back.
You can't coach size. you can't coach speed. It's like the same thing. Like, it's just so big. I mean, we're also seeing the ramifications of having a massive human on the left-hand side. Like, I don't know if I want to duplicate it necessarily, but man, that is an enormous combo at tackle.
Yeah. I mean, 400 pounds is, that's quite the something. Has everybody given up on Becton? I mean, that's what it seems like to me. It seems like isn't it silly? It's like, yes. I mean, remember so there were all these stories this year. We heard about plantar fasciitis. I mean, he put out an article that he's eating himself to death. None of those things were true. Remember, they said he was 40 pounds overweight. He's 265. So you're telling me that he came in at 405? That's not true. Like, none of that shit's true. He wasn't injured. He got the one concussion thing in practice. They went through the concussion protocol, and then he got rolled on. Like, that's all it is. I don't understand. The guy's a five.
I'll say this. I'm not giving up on Becton, but I would not solely rely on him. Like, I like how we approach the position this year. You bring in Morgan Moses, you have George Fant, you take Elijah Vera Tucker, who could, in a pinch, go out to tackle. I think if you want to take Evan Neal to tackle from Alabama, I'm okay with that. I think you hold on to Fant or Moses as well. I think you just need a little bit of depth. And you look at what the Eagles did when Joe Douglas was there. They had Jason Peters, Lane Johnson, and they drafted Andre Dillard. So, like, I think he values the tackle position anyway. Like, you wind up losing one of those guys. Look, we are one bad play from having 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐳 as our left tackle. We saw it this past game.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
And you just don't want to have your star number 2 overall quarterback in that sort of situation. So I'm not giving up on Becton by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also not like putting all my eggs in that one basket.
Yeah, depth. So important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'll take Evan Neal then. And then you could keep either one of Fant or Moses as depth. Sure.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And man, would that be interesting? Because then you're building an identity, right? Like, the Jets right now are sort of this weird enigma of like, okay, we're not quite sure what we want to be yet. But if you take Becton, AVT, Linderbaum, Neal, and you bring in another guard, like, all of a sudden you're telling your entire team, this is what we are. We are going to beat you up front. We're going to run the ball down your throat, and we're going to play tough defense. We're going to get after your quarterback. I think there's a lot of potential there. All right. So we are at the end of our stream.
Oh, look at that.
Flew by, right?
Yeah, it did.
Just like that. We didn't get a whole lot of likes in here. We didn't get a whole lot of likes. Guys, we got 270 people in here. We can get 40 more likes. 34
200 more likes. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get us up to 200 here. Get a few more qualifiers, and we'll do our t-shirt giveaway. I got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, All right, I got to do what? 2 more. 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐲 Johnson. God, I love saying so. I know it's Socrates, but 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐲 is just such a nice name.
𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐲, it's the best. It's Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, my friend.
𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐲.
All right, 11 more likes. We're right there. 8 more likes. Come on, boys and girls. You got us there. Got it queued up. All you have to do is hit the like button, and then I click enter, and we pick another qualifier. Whoa, I didn't even hit. All right, I guess Jay Spector. Nightbot's giving me the old double dip right now, so we're going to get a few extra qualifiers once we get this through. One more. We're right there. Oh, wait, maybe I should have liked it. I didn't like the video. There we go. We're over 200. That's all we needed. All right. So let's see who Nightbot selects, and then we're going to do our little odds or evens across the board.
What are we doing?
The odds or evens gimmick.
Oh, okay. I thought I was looking at you guys. You were both so still. I was like, is this frozen? Never know on my end. I think Ryan might have frozen. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm like, I was watching him. I'm like, wait a he's really still.
Ryan, no, come back.
That's what it was. I was like, I was staring at him. I'm like, is he even breathing?
And the winner is
the winner is Joe Douglas. He wins a shirt for being so good. Everybody loves him.
No. Yeah, I'm with you though on what you were saying earlier. I don't get the hot seat stuff yet. Like, I understand the frustration. I think the only point where you can maybe say he has a chance of getting fired is if they have another brutal year next year.
Right.
That's where I'm at with it. But he's going to get time.
Right. And he sat down with the Johnsons and said, hey, look, here's what's going on with this organization. It sucks from the inside out. I'm going to take an entire year and destroy this place. We're going to get rid of he probably gave him the whole plan. And then they're 6 games into it. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with Saleh and LaFleur. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm frustrated with both of them, but I don't know how anyone could definitively say, yeah, neither of these guys can do anything at the NFL level. I don't think it's enough of a sample size to be that definitive with it.
No, I agree. My whole thing is like they need to put up like at this level, 54-13, 26-0. It's unacceptable, and something has to change. You know what I mean?
Yes. Without a doubt. But my expectation was, okay, the bye week, perfect time for them to make their adjustments. You self-evaluate. You have Corey Davis in the bye saying, "Oh, we're ready to go," and this and that, and you come up and get smacked in the face.
Right.
No good.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's going to take a minute, but Jets fans, it's funny. It's really a funny thing how we are. I get a lot of personal messages. You get those messages? People
yeah.
Hey, remember 6 months ago you said?
That's why I dance on the graves, is because of how many people dance on mine anytime I get something wrong. So I know with it too. So I'm saying you got to do your victory lap on the tight ends, man. You were right, because they're trying to run 2 tight end sets with Ryan Griffin and Daniel Brown. It's embarrassing.
It is. It's embarrassing. And then not only that, like to realize it and go, all right, well, we're limited. Let's pull it back and run simple scheme. Nope. Full on. They're sending them out wide and 25 yards down the field. And it's crazy, man. It's like, but again, like you said, like these guys, like it's not indicative of anything. Parcells' first year, he was like 1-13. Bill Walsh, like all these guys, they were all terrible. And the Jets fans would have run everybody out of town. They want to start over every year.
That's the thing. You can't start over every year. And eventually you got to try to, get some of these plans through and see it through the end. But I don't know. I just get frustrated with the people who are so definitive in Saleh is awful, will always be awful, is a bad decision. LaFleur is awful, he's always going to be awful. Douglas is awful, Wilson's awful, and you go right down the line.
Yeah.
Because just 6 weeks ago, that wasn't the narrative for anybody. So I
Right.
don't get this.
I had a whole live stream where I said I wanted to get a realistic schedule prediction. I couldn't get them off 12-5. You know what I mean? That's where Jets fans were, 12-5. And it's like, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So how do you go from that to a month and a half later be like, oh, yeah, this guy definitely can't coach? And the
Yeah, you
offense
can't do it.
But
Yeah.
I will say what is funny, remember the narrative that someone's going to poach LaFleur as a head coach, so it's not
Yep.
gonna hire. Remember that? whole
That's
thing?
right. We were scared to even hire him because he's so good that they're going to steal him next year anyway. So why even hire him?
Yeah. Oh my God. What a problem to have.
I'm telling. I know, right? Let's get somebody that's competent before we worry. You know, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So I don't. Is Ryan going to make it back? It doesn't look like he's going to make it back.
I just said, oh, I ended the stream on my end. Interesting. So how are we still on right now? I'm